video is on Chapter 10, Education, Section 9, Laptops in the Classroom. The main topic of this section are laptops, and laptops are computers that are portable while having the same capabilities of desktops. Slowly, these laptops are replacing desktops at schools as they are more convenient and more accessible to students. The goal for these schools is to have a laptop for every student in the school to use at any time. These are called one-to-one programs, where the schools want to have one laptop for every enrolled student at the school. These programs are usually funded by schools, or if the school cannot afford it, the schools are sponsored by large technology firms that donate the laptops. The effectiveness of this technique is still a debate amongst many people. There are many uses for these laptops. One use is online resources. There are many types of resources online, such as dictionaries and thesauruses and websites where research can be done. And so these laptops will open up more learning opportunities for students. Textbooks can also be saved on these laptops, and these are called e-textbooks. And these are better for students because they don't have to carry around textbooks. They can all be saved onto the laptops, and it is easier to find things as there are more functions when trying to search for things within the textbook. There's also interactive learning, as there can be programs where students can actively participate in lessons instead of passively trying to take notes. There's also collaborative learning and projects that can be done where students can work together to use stuff they've learned to make projects with one another or even students around the world. There are also programs where learning can be applied. There are games and many other programs online where students can take what they've learned and apply that learning into situations where it matters. There are many pros to these machines. One is financial. Most students, or not most, but some students cannot afford to constantly be paying for more paper and more pencils and all the school supplies that are needed in school. And if the school gives them a laptop, it makes their life at home, the financial life at home, easier. There's also environmental pros, as it'll cut down on paper waste, as students will not have to be constantly using paper, and teachers will not have to be constantly printing stuff out on paper for the students, and it'll cut down the use of lead pencils and pens. Engagement is also a pro, as students are more prone to listen when they're actively engaged in the lesson, and computers can help them do that. There are many tools, as seen in the last slide. It can be used for e-textbooks, other online resources and applications where learning can be applied. There can also be personalized learning experience, as if there's a student who is struggling and falling behind, the pace can be slowed down just for them so they can learn better. Or if there's a student who is accelerated and is doing better than the other students, they can speed up their learning and go on to more challenging stuff. It also prepares students for the future, as the society is moving more towards a technology-based society. This will help the students be more prepared for when they go out into the real world. There are also cons to these machines. One is financial, and this is on the school's end, as most schools, especially large ones, will not be able to pay the massive amounts of money it will take to give every single student a laptop. Proper use is also an issue, as some students will use them for their intended purpose, but there are others that will not, who will use it to slack off or just waste time. These laptops will also require training, as some students will not know how to use them as they've never had one before, and there will also be many faculty members and teachers that will not know how to use them. So it will also factor back into financial, where it will cost money to train the teachers, and they may not be using them effectively at first as they have never used them before. There's also security concerns, as all these computers will have all the information that students have, and it can be hacked, and information can be taken. Privacy is also an issue, as if students are using these all the time and putting their information into them, their information can potentially be stolen. There's also inequality of access for these, as some students have laptops at home and some students don't, and if a school is not able to go 100% into this one-to-one program, some students will be left behind without a laptop, and some students won't. Infrastructure is also a problem. In places such as Africa and other third world countries, there is no internet or equipment that these computers can be used with, so they'll be rendered useless if they can't connect to the internet, or if there's no desk to put them on, or if there's not enough room to store them. Reliability is also an issue, as if these computers fail, then the lesson plans of the teachers may totally be destroyed, and they may become more of a problem than they are a solution. And also, there's a debate between the effectiveness of computers versus teachers. Some people feel that the switch from teacher-based learning to computer-based learning will be bad for students, as some students will not be able to learn as effectively as when there's teachers that can help you one-on-one. Some of the ethical concerns in these are security and privacy. Security, there is physical and technological security issues, as these laptops will attract thieves. Some people may want to steal them. They can be easily lost. And technological security, there will need to be programs that protect information, important information that the students may have researched that they may need, or even information about themselves that they've put into their computer. These create more incentive to hack. If these large schools have these computers, hackers may want to hack them to take the information. The computers will also hold lots of sensitive information if these computers are in fact given to students, as they will have a lot of the information, and so privacy becomes an issue there. And all the computers are connecting to one network, so there is a chance that all the students will be able to access each other's information, and that could cause problems as well. Reliability is a concern, because aside from having the computers, you need many parts. There's many parts of these computers, and they all need to work properly so that the computers can be used. And also, for the most part, these computers will have to connect to the internet. And so if there's no internet, there essentially is no reason for the computers. And the computers all must have the necessary software to run the applications and the internet that the teachers have planned in their lesson plans. And all the systems need to be compatible with one another, so information can be shared and all the applications can be put on all the computers at the same time. Because if there are some computers that can take some applications and some computers that can't, it'll create many problems amongst the learning of students. Equality of access is also an issue. Some schools will not be able to purchase enough computers for everybody, and so that could cause problems for the students that don't get computers. And if a school can purchase enough computers, they all need to be homogeneous, as if some computers have more applications or have more capabilities, then that could give some students an unfair advantage in the classroom. And if a school cannot purchase enough computers, but the teachers still want to use computers for lesson plans, students cannot be relied on to bring in their computers every day, as situations at home may prevent them from bringing in every day. Some students may not have a computer, and that would cause problems amongst students who don't have laptops or can't bring in laptops or don't get one from the school. And the student-owned laptops are hard to monitor. There are usually systems in place for teachers and faculty to monitor what is going on these school-owned computers, but if a student brings in its own laptop, then they cannot be as easily monitored. One program that was put in place was Nicholas Negroponte's project to attempt to give every laptop a student in developing countries, and that was called the One Laptop Per Child program. And so far, it's provided over 2 million children in developing countries with laptops. This program was good for children that could afford to go to school, as they had a better learning experience. But for laptops that were given to students who are former students who now work, they are disadvantaged, as they don't have the time or need for computers. So for some people, it was just a waste of money, and for some people, it worked out really well. Some real-world outcomes or examples of where these laptop programs were used were: one, it was the One Laptop Per Child program, but also in Liverpool High School, New York, and this is an example of where it went wrong. They abandoned the computer program, as the statistics showed that the computers provided no advantage in their students' learning. And other schools, such as Liverpool High School in New York, they have found that there's too much financial pressure, that they can't afford them, and there's not enough parent support for them to contribute any money to these programs. But one example of where it went right is the Montreal University. They started using computers in their classrooms, and they found that the computers helped their participation and motivation of the students, and it increased the graduation rate by about 20%. And in this time, they saw a correlation with their academic rank and the computers, as before the computers they were ranked the 46th university in Canada, and since then they had moved up to becoming the 23rd ranked university in Canada. My sources were the student grade ITGS textbook.